All right, guys, let's move on to our second example. In this example, also, we will have an a that is -1. So today we are practicing what to do when a is negative. I'm going to start this problem by identifying my a, my b, and my c. So in this problem, my a is -1, my b is -6, and my c is -2. Now, just a little side note, you're not allowed to do factoring or anything like that on these problems. You must take them at their original value. So even though every number is negative, you can't factor out a negative sign because that will mess up the graph. It'll make the graph not accurate. So no factoring at all for these problems. Just take it as it is. Just like in our first example, since my a is -1, this will be a parabola that opens down, an upside down U shape, and it will have a maximum or a highest point. For my axis of symmetry, I will be plugging in my A and my B. Now my B was already negative and the formula has a negative sign, so that'll turn into a +6 on top, divided by -2. And +6 divided by -2 is -3. Don't forget the x equals. Now we talked about this in the last problem, but it is in your best interest on these problems where there's a negative in front of the x squared to make it a -1 and not just a negative sign. It'll be less confusing for you in the long run. So when I do my next step, which is plugging in the -3, I'm going to put -1 times -3 squared and then -6 times -3 and then -2. So putting that -1 in front will help so that you do not make a mistake. The -3, that's going to get squared first. -3 squared turns into a +9. And then we will do -1 times 9. So this actually, it is going to turn back into, and I don't think I typed it on here, so I'll write it on here. It's going to turn into a -9, but it's turning into a -9 because of the negative sign that was in front of the x squared. -3 squared is not -9. -3 squared is +9, but the negative that was in front of the x squared is going to change it to a -9. All right, -9 plus 18 is 9, and 9 minus 2 is 7. So my y-coordinate is 7, but we're writing it as an ordered pair. So my vertex is at -3, 7. Moving on, my y-intercept is 0, whatever c is, and in this problem, c is -2. So 0, -2. All right, let's graph. We're going to start by graphing our axis of symmetry, which is at x equals -3. Remember, that's a vertical line. You can draw it as a dotted line, or you can use a highlighter. And my vertex is on my axis of symmetry at the +7. Just like in our previous example, we will be multiplying the y-coordinates by -1, which will make them now a negative y-coordinate. And that's just a nice friendly reminder that we're opening down, okay, upside down U shape. Don't forget to put your pencil on the vertex. So pencil on the vertex, right 1, down 1, and reflect. Pencil back on the vertex. My next special ordered pair is right 2, down 4. Go back up to that vertex. So always restart with your pencil on the vertex. Pretend like the vertex is the origin now. It's your new starting point. My final special ordered pair, which I can definitely fit on this graph, is 3, -9. Oh, and this, we forgot to check this on the first one, but we should check our y-intercept. So I said I think the y-intercept is going to be at -2, and I just put a dot on the y-axis right here. And I did put the dot at -2, so we did good. We graphed it correctly. All right, now this graph, it touches the x-axis, it touches it twice, which is what normally happens. Touching it once is kind of a special case. It touches it twice, but you'll notice that I did not draw any actual dots on the x-axis. My U-shape's not exactly perfect. It kind of looks like it's going through the origin, but I didn't put a dot on the origin, so it's not going through the origin. So this is another problem where you're going to have to write between. Okay. I hope that the writing that I put on there earlier doesn't mess this up. I can't erase it for some reason. All right. So between. So let's see. This one over here, it's between 0 and -1. It's not on the 0. If it was on the 0, I would have drawn a dot on the 0, but I didn't. Okay, so it's between 0 and -1. And then the other one, 1, 2, 3, 4, -5 and -6. Between -5 and -6. Oh, you can kind of see it. Okay, so again, two x-intercepts. They're some decimal between 0 and -1, and then another decimal between -5 and -6. This concludes today's videos.